I need to get into that bar. I can't afford to wait for it to finish and then get in down here. As soon as it accomplishes destruction, I'm diving into the bar. Now, if you get in down here, it's better than not getting in, but your stop still has to be here. So if I get in here, my risk is smaller than getting in. Are you getting down here where my risk is that? Reversals, are you waiting for them to get your stop? Because getting in down here doesn't mean that my risk changes, that my stop changes. Nothing is wrong, even on a bounce back to the upside, unless violence is removed. So this bounce is, nothing's wrong with that. You understand? In fact, I would have preferred for BABA to bounce into its violence. Now, I want to tell you that let me add a little flesh. I want you diving into violence. I'm going to get to that. Julie. I want you to dive into violence, but I don't want you to dive into violence in the first minute of your 2-minute bar. You can dive into the violence anytime into the second minute. So remember, this bar is 2 minutes long. The first minute and the second minute, but the first minute is off limits. I don't want you getting into that bar during the first minute. It's too possible for it to be fake. That first minute of the bar is the highest level of false things can happen in that first minute. The second minute starts to become when you move into the second minute, your bar starts to become more and more real. Like, all right, this is not fake. So I can't have you jump into that violence in the first minute. I need you jumping in the second minute. And any time in the second minute is fine. The deeper in the second minute, better. But sometimes you can't do it so deep into the second minute because the destruction is already occurring and you don't want to miss your opportunity. All right? So only dive into the second minute of that 2-minute bar once you've got the combination, violence and destruction. And no igniting violence and destruction is 3 things. Remember the 3-part combination. No similar color or before it. So remember the combination. This bar does not have red before it. It's the first one. Okay? And it's violent. It's a sudden giant blow. It's like a blow that knocks you into next week or knocks you into last week. That's even worse. It's a sudden, violent, one giant blow that punches you into last week. And it's destroying past data. That's the 3-part combination. And you dive into that violence when it is recognized, but only in the second minute of that 2-minute bar that meets that 3-part combination. All right. Now, here's the next thing I will say that will answer some of these questions that I see. Violence destroys, just like in real life. Violence destroys. So some people say, well, Oliver, what about this 200-period moving average? You have taught in your videos and in your courses, in your programs, that the 200, if it's below the price, is support. It is. A lot of times, it's huge support. It's not support all the time, but a lot of the time. But violence is the next thing I need to teach you. Violence makes everything disappear. I'm going to say it 3 times. Violence makes everything disappear. Violence makes everything disappear. It means that once you have violence, there is no 200. Once you have violence, there is no support. Once you have violence, there is no trap zone. I taught you about the trap zone as well. Once you have violence, there's nothing. It makes everything disappear. Violence makes everything disappear. Violence makes everything go away. Violence eliminates the 200. Violence eliminates support. Violence eliminates former price data. Violence eliminates everything. Violence is like an IPO, the first day or the first minute of a stock's life. Nothing else exists. You guys understand that? Nothing else matters once you have this violent combination. You got that? A few of you let me know. So you ignore everything. Just focus on that violence. Dive into the violence, into the second minute. You gotta have that stop above violence though. Now that's the only drawback, traders. Listen to me carefully. The only drawback is that your stop is big. You're going to make huge money with this. I'm telling you. You're going to make huge money with this. And it doesn't have to be the first bar. Don't think this has to be the first bar. Look, this is not the first bar. That green bar is not the first bar. Let me try to open this up a little bit. Let me see if I open this up a little bit. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, that's a cryptocurrency there. Look, this bar is not at the open. That's in the middle of the day. Now, I would say that's a little bit more like Elephant Pluses, which we make money from as well. We'll have a study session on those as well. Because your Elephant Pluses are going to happen a little more frequently than your Violets. All right, so you need all of them. You need the Elephants, you need the Elephant Pluses, and you need the Violent Elephants. So you need all three categories, and you can make a living right here. This can be your living. And then when you add that extra, you add that second part to all three of these. What about an elephant that rips through? What about an Elephant Plus that rips through from a price data? Like this Elephant Plus, I would say this is more like an Elephant Plus. It's eliminating red. It's eliminating some red. So, okay, I'm going to go with that. But you always have to place your stop under the elephant if it's green or over the elephant if it's red. And that's the only caveat. Do you understand? It's the only downfall of this, that when you lose, you're just going to need a little bit of counseling. That's all. You know, we got counselors, right? You got counselors on the payroll. Just going to need a little bit of counseling. That's the only caveat. All right. But let me give you the stats. All right. You're going to need counseling 1 in every 100 trades. How freaking amazing is that? Like 1 in every 100? That's it? You can afford a counselor 1 in every 100. If you win, if you don't get stopped out 99 times, in that one time, you're like, okay, I can afford this counselor. Let me sit on this couch and listen to this stuff, listen to what he's telling me. Oliver, the trap zone when the 20 and 200 are in conflict. Jose's asking, what about the trap zone when the 20 and the 200 are in conflict? I don't understand that. First of all, stay away from the trap zone. Just stay away. Unless you have violence. Violence eliminates the trap zone. Just don't even bother with it. All right. But let's leave the trap zone and let's leave that for another session. I don't want to start mixing concepts here. All right. So what did I do, guys? I dove into Baba. Into the violence, right? Boom. Boom. I'm hitting it up. Just holding the key down, just trying to get as much as I possibly can. But it's moving fast. Now, if you watch when I brought you into the trade, I'm sort of getting out here. All right. Now, this is huge. Like, if you look at the price range, like, let's call that 178, 40, 35 or so. And then look at here. This is like $1. That's $1, more than $1. So this is huge, right? So, but I'm coming out in stages. So I've got like close to 5,000 shares. So the full 5,000 would, the full short here cover there would be 5K. But I didn't make 5K on it. I made 2,100 on it. But that's because I'm coming out in stages. You understand? So here's 1K, here's another K, here's 3K, here's 4K. I'm out, in stages. That's how professionals basically come out. They feed little parts of their trade out. They don't trade like a freaking novice, go in everything, come out everything. When you're trading 100 shares, you got to do that. That's not your fault. But when you have size, you don't come out, you don't go in with everything and come out everything in one giant trade. That's not how you break it up. You stage it, all right? So this trade earned me about 2.1K, all right? Now, if you really study or watch my trades closely, you'll realize, wow, if Oliver held on a little bit longer, he would have made a lot more money. And you will notice that in almost the vast majority of my trades. Oliver came out early, all right? And I want to explain this a little bit. I want you to understand that when you have a certain size, you have to shrink your holding time frame. I'm going to repeat that. When you go to a certain size, you shrink your time frame. Another way of saying this is the bigger your size, the shorter the time frame that you hold the play. The smaller the size, the longer you hold the play. So, for instance, if I went in here, this is my entry. If I went in here 1,000 shares, I would hold this the whole way as far as I can. But to go in with 5,000, I'm going to start coming out earlier. Now, I will make more money than the 1,000 share version, even though I come out earlier than the 1,000 share version. So instead of going for the big move with smaller, I go for the smaller move with bigger. And even though I miss the bigger move, I still make more money more efficiently. What means more efficiently? Less time. Anytime you can accomplish a job with less time, you're more efficient. You build a house, it takes 6 months. Well, the person who builds it in 3 months is more efficient. All right. So look, I make $2,000. Well, it's going to take me a longer time to make $2,000 or 1,000 shares. But if I bump that to 5,000 shares, I can make the $2,000 in less time. And less time means less risk. So some people say, well, Oliver, isn't the 5,000 shares riskier? No, 5,000 shares is less risky. This is the paradox of everything. 5,000 shares is less risky than 1,000 shares because the time that I hold the trade is going to be shorter. So the least amount of time that I'm exposed to the possibility of danger makes the trade less risky. It's more risky when I take a smaller trade because I got to hold the trade longer. If I got to hold the trade longer, more shit can happen. Do you understand? More bad can happen to me. I'm holding it longer. It's crazy, right? So size starts to become safer if you hold your trades shorter period of time. Now, Gio is asking a very interesting question. Oliver, is violence what you're looking for off the open? No. I don't want you looking, traders. I don't want you waiting. No, that's the wrong word. I don't want you looking. I want you searching. I want you waiting. Now, guys, when you're my traders, this is not the only scenario that you're waiting for. We have a nice collection of things that have this kind of reliability. And so let's say it's 8 things, right? 7 things. It's 8 if you break one of the things up into 2 parts, but let's call it 7 to 8 things. And you're just waiting for any one. It doesn't matter. You don't choose one of the 7 to 8 things. You wait for any one of them to show up. Boom. And that's got your name on it. Boom, 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 boom. You understand? And so that becomes our job. Once I teach you these 7 to 8 things, you simply, and I teach you how to exploit each one of them properly. This is one of them. Right? This is one of the scenarios, right? And you just, whichever one comes first. I don't want you choosing. This is the novice game. Oh, but I like this one better. No. You take what comes to you. You take what opportunity presents itself to you. You take your destiny. Your destiny is what comes next. You don't get to choose your destiny. That's why it's called destiny. You don't get to choose destiny. You take what comes next. And so when you know my 7 to 8 things, you just take whatever comes next. You don't choose. This will add randomness to your results. We don't want to be random traders. Have you ever been in that scenario where you choose something that you know one time and it fails, and then you decide not to choose it the second time, and then it explodes and it would have made you a fortune, but you didn't take that one? We don't want that scenario. You take it every time. Every time you get this violent, destructive event that's not followed by its same color before it, you take it every single time. That's when the math is going to start working for you. Will every single one work? No, nothing in life works every single time. So get over it. You got your counselor on the payroll. That's why he's on the payroll. Nothing's going to work every time. You might need that counselor one in every 100 times in this scenario. All right. Now, I don't want you getting afraid of a bounce into violence. This is the next thing I need to teach you. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Violence shoots power this way. Look, to the right. You understand? And the deeper the violence, the longer the power to the right. So as this violence grows, its power shoots further to the right. Now listen to me carefully, traders. This is an important concept. So its violent red shoots power to the right, the same way that power green shoots power to the right. All right? Same thing. And the taller the green, the more power to the right. The longer the red, more power to the right. Okay? We don't do side. I want you to try to go for that 2 to 3 bar follow. And you might get a bounce here and there. In there. I told you, don't worry about the bounce. You might get a bounce in there somewhere before that 2 or 3 completes itself. That's okay. I would add on that bounce. And that's a topic for another discussion, but another time. But don't be afraid of bounces after violence. Don't get tricked. Don't get shaken. Bounces don't matter. All right. Look at this bounce. Look at this violence. Let's join the violence together. All right, I'm gonna make this thicker. Let's join the violence together. Look at that violence. Boom. Now look at the bounce. This is gonna lead me. This is a perfect segue into my next thing. Look at the bounce, and then look at the fallback. Bounces don't matter after violence. I'm gonna repeat it two more times. Bounces don't matter after violence. Don't get shaken. Don't get tricked. Bounces don't matter after violence. You understand? You got this, guys? All right, awesome. Now, Hernan is saying, Oliver, when the violence is big and I haven't gotten in yet, I prefer to wait for the bounce. This is an excellent comment. I prefer to wait for the bounce because my stop is too far. I used to do that, Hernan. I used to say, oh man, this violence is too big, man. It's too far. I missed where I should have gotten in. And I did this for years. I'm going to wait for the bounce. But what would that have accomplished here in this scenario? Ah, oh, shoot, I missed it. I'm going to wait for the bounce. 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 Oh my, I'm going to wait for the bounce. I'm going to wait for the bounce. Ah! Look at what I missed. So guys, listen, Hernan, I'm speaking to you more directly, but everyone in general, because I think it's a great question. I think it's a great comment. When I did statistics on this, 50% bounce and 50% don't. Like it's literally in half. I did this study over years of my own trades. And I'm like, but 50% of the time I do get the bounce. And the other 50% I miss a fortune. So what the heck am I waiting for? I don't want to lose half. I don't want my life. I don't want to live my life missing half of my opportunities. So even if it's late or big, I get in now. I might get in smaller. You understand? So if I don't get it here where I want it and I'm getting in here, I might, instead of 5,000, I might do 3,000, but I'm getting in. All right. And just in case there's a bounce, I'm getting that bounce too. You understand? Okay. See, novice traders don't know even how to size. They don't know when a trade should be heavy. They don't know when a trade should be light or in the middle. They have no size concepts. They have no concepts. No, well, that's why they're novices. That's why we call them novices. They don't know. But that's not going to be you over time, guys. Over time, one item by one item, I'm going to freaking turn you into masters. You see, there's very few people that have 32 years of professional trading left. Most of them are gone. It's not that they don't exist. They're retired, they're gone, or they've blown out, or whatever. Died, maybe? But I mean, people who are out here willing to answer all of your stupid questions every single day and stuff like that, and go through the hate comments and deal with that, the people who don't even know your legacy and what you've done in this industry. There are very few people who want to deal with that, man. They have 32 years of trading experience, but I'm here for that. You understand? And so one item by one item, I'm going to grow you. I'm going to grow you week by week, which is how you're supposed to grow. Everybody wants to grow. Oliver, can you grow me in an hour? I want a microwave version of success. No, it doesn't work that way. Nothing worthwhile works that way. I got to do it week by week. You're going to grow like you grew when you were a child. You didn't grow in an hour. You didn't grow over a weekend. Maybe a little bit, but not totally. I'm going to grow you week by week, the same way you grew from a child into an adult, week by week. And if you give me, I appreciate that, Kel. Thank you. If you give me a year, oh my God, what you'll be, you'll look at the older version of yourself and say, who the heck is that? And I'm not talking about fluff. I'm not talking about light things. I'm talking about heavy, powerful things. I like to teach things that can affect your trading life forever. Like not just, every now and then this happens every 8 months. No, every day. I've got things I can teach you that happen once a year, but I don't teach you stuff like that because once a year you can't make a living off of that. I like to teach you things you can make a living from. You know, in this concept, you can make a living from violence. I'm always telling my traders, you can make a living off my concept of violence. If you got those three things, violence that rips, that destroys, violence that doesn't have its own color before it. Violence, destruction, no color before it. Boom. Violence, destruction, no color before it. Violence, destruction, no color before it. That's your three-part combination. You know, to keep your counselor on the side for that 1 in every 100 times, but you'll have enough money to pay him. You'll have enough money to pay that counselor. I promise you. I crack myself up sometimes. All right, let's move into the second trade. All right, we can't go until I cover the second trade. Not done with you yet. Now, I was debating last night, man, should I do the second trade? I was literally debating this, right? I'm like, should I do the second trade with these guys? Because it's actually something that I don't encourage certain traders to do at a certain level of their development in the beginning. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me give them a little glimpse into their future. It may not be what I want you to do right now, but I want you to understand it when you see me do it so that you don't think I'm freaking stupid. Okay? All right. I'm always telling my traders that you have to know your stock. Don't trade stuff that you've never traded before. Like 90% of the times, trading Baba 90% of the time. And the only reason I did that is because Apple has moved out of my price zone. So Apple's over 200, more or less. That's stretching my price zone a little bit. I love that 135 to 160 range. I love it. I love it. That's my sweet spot, 135 to 160 or so. But over 200, it starts to stretch and starts to stress my buying power. So I lose some of my superpowers up there, you know? So, but I watched Baba for 6 months before switching to making that my key play, my key stock. 6 months gaining familiarity. You understand? Learning its idiosyncrasies, its characteristics. When I was ready, you're not going to beat me in Baba. I mean, Baba has stung me. I mean, I'm human. Baba has put me on the couch talking to my counselor. Oh, yes, it has. But in most cases, you're not going to beat me. If you show up to Baba with your money, and I show up to Baba with my money, I can pretty much guarantee that you leave without your money. That I take it, right? So I teach my traders that you need this type of familiarity. This is one of your edges. This is your edge, not your total edge, but it's one of your edges. You need ultimate familiarity with your stock. And what do I mean by that? You need to know the stock's characteristics, but let's leave that for another time. But more specifically, you need to know a stock's range. You need to know a stock's volatility range. So for instance, your stock's volatility range might be $1. So let's say more than 80% of the time, a big day is $1. So that when you have a stock that is $1 that has moved, if your stock's volatility range is $1 and it's moved $1.50, it's and its snap back is very close because you're already leaning so far onto the fence. You're leaning so far into the ropes. Its volatility is $1 and it's stretching the ropes $1.50. Boom! Or you reverse, right? So look at this drop. Look at Alibaba's drop. 6 to 9. That's $3. You understand? $3. Close to it. So Alibaba's volatility range is like $2. You got it? So it's like $2.25 more or less. And this is because I know the stock's volatility range. I know it. I live with it virtually every single day. So what does the volatility range mean? That on average, you're going to get a bounce after $2.25. If the $2.25 happens in a fluid move, I'm not talking about a gradual $2.25 down. No, I'm talking about boom, like that. So if it's an uninterrupted move, you usually get a bounce within $2.25. But Baba didn't get a bounce and moved all the way to $3. It's at this $3 mark that I'm like, this thing's going to bounce, man. It's too far gone in one fell swoop, one giant move down without an interruption. It's due. And so I went in. Boom, 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 boom. I went in. Now, when did I go in? When I started seeing green. I went in when I started see the color green. Boom, 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 boom. And tight stop under the low. If that green failed, I'd be out. All right, that's okay. It's sort of like I'm willing to test the waters. You understand? I'm willing to put my little feet in the tub and run some water and put my feet. Ah, that's too hot. Let me pull my foot out and run some cold water, cool it down. Put my feet in. Oh, it's too cold. Pick up the hot water until I get it freaking right. It's okay. Right? But anyway, I went in on the green based on the volatility concept. Now, this is very advanced, guys. This is not something I want you doing right now. Because I'm fighting the trend. I'm going against the trend. I'm going against the power. I'm going against the wall. I'm going against the violence. But when violence goes too far, bounce is imminent. Now, here's what I want to talk to you about. So I decided last night I would do this. It's a little advanced, but I would explain this because of this concept that I want you to understand. It's this concept that made me decide to cover this play, even though I feel it could be a mistake because I don't want you guys really trying this right now. This is more of your future. But here's the concept. I want you all thinking professionally, not like the millions of novices out there in Facebook groups pretending like they know something and they don't. All right? Let's say this level is 100 and this level is 0. Okay? Now, let's do 75. Let's do a 75 level. Let's do a half level. And let's do a 25 level. Okay? Now, a bounce that goes all the way to 100. Are the odds high or low? Just a few of you let me know what you think. A bounce that goes all the way to 100. Low. Very low. Yes. Okay. So if the odds of a bounce going all the way back is low, isn't a bounce that goes to 75 better? It's better, right? It's better than 100, but it's still low. But a bounce to 50 is much better. You understand? So let's say, right? So let's say a bounce to 100 will happen once out of every 10 times. Out of every 10 bounces, you get a bounce that goes all the way once. Let's say a bounce to 75 will happen twice. But a bounce to 50 will happen 6 times out of every 10. Now you can make a living right there. You understand? But wait a minute. A bounce to 25, 9 times. 9 times out of every 10, I get a 25 to 30% bounce. Where do you want to live your life as a trader? You want to live your life here? Where do you want to live your life? Wait, here. Are you understanding why I'm out early? Because I want to live my life at the 9 times out of every 10. I don't want to live my life at the 2 times out of every 10. I want to live my life where it happens all the time. I'm in this to make money 9 times out of every 10. Do you understand? So instead of going for the 100 or the 75 with small, I go for the 25 with big. I still make the same money, not more, but I'm more accurate at the 25. So look at this drop. Let's tie this all in, guys. Let's tie it all in. Look at this drop. Where do I want to take my profits? Here, halfway? 75? No, 25 to 30. Boom, out, done. I will get that 9 times out of every 10. So many traders make this error of demanding too much from their trade. They're demanding 75%. They're demanding 100%. And so they have success a very little amount. They have success very infrequently. When their success happens is big. That's what keeps them putting money into the market for us. You know what keeps a losing trader depositing into their tiny little accounts is the occasional 100% move, is the occasional 75% move. And it's just enough to keep them coming back like a freaking casino. The casino can't have you not win sometimes. That's crazy. You'll never come back. You'll win a few of those rounds. It'll keep you coming back to Vegas. But you'll lose, but you just have those memories of the occasional win. And that's what keeps people depositing into their losing accounts. But if you live your life in that 25 to 30% level, you live in a different world, a world of consistency, a world of certainty. You see, we have not been given providence. Providence has not given us the gift to see very far beyond our noses. This is a fact of life. You can't see into the next city. You can imagine what's into the next city. You can't literally see into the next city. And the further you try to see beyond your nose, the blurrier things become. This is life. But when it's the distance of your nose, it is the most clear. We haven't been given dominion over very much beyond our nose. We've been given mastery over the now, not what's beyond the now. What's beyond the now is a guess. What's beyond the now is cloudy. But we do know now. Where are you? You know with certainty where you are now. Where are you going to be a year from now today? I don't know, but I know where I am now. Now let's take this concept of trading. I don't know if this stock can bounce 100 or 75, but I do know it can bounce 25. I know 25 is closer to my nose. I want to live within the limits of now. I want to live within the limits of my nose. I want to live where I know, not where I think, not where I guess. Do you understand this, traders? Live where you know. 25 is knowing. 25 to 30% is knowing. I know I can get that almost every time. And now it's just repeat. Let the novices go for 100%. I go for 25, 30, repeat. While they're waiting for their once and occasional 100. So 100, there are 4 25s in 100, right? So I get 9 25s for their 100. I beat them just by going for, while they're waiting for their 1 in 10 100. I get 9 25s. And that's the game. You know? Oh my God, traders. What I want to teach you. Most of you still don't have a clue. I want to give you this 32 years. I want to give you this 32 years, week by week, until you have it all. It's not going to take 32 years for me to part it. That's the beautiful thing about experience. The person who suffered the experience doesn't need that length of time to share it. And listen to me. Sharing experience is very different from sharing money. You see, if I have $100 and I give you 25 of it, I lose 25 of it. It's a loss for me. I now have 75 and you have 25. But when I give you my experience, I get more. It's just the opposite. How amazing is that? That each time I share my experience, I become better. Each time I teach you, I become better. People say, Oliver, why do you teach? What are you talking about? I'm getting better by teaching you. I'm growing by teaching you. And that's the beautiful thing about sharing experience. You can't share an experience and become less. It's not like money. I share my experience and I'm better for it. Teaching has made me a better trader, a more disciplined trader. I can't teach you and then in your face do what I don't teach you. It compels me to be who I say I am. And I love it. And you know what? Here, I want to thank you for helping me be who I am. Because without you, I'm not OV. I'm not Oliver Velez. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I love the fact that you're all here. Boom! Ha ha! Ciao for now, guys. Ciao for now.